welcome to another episode of Pet Pals. I'm Bethany Davidson, the Humane Educator here at Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center. I feel like since she's making herself very well known, I should go ahead and introduce our first guest. This is Bailey here with Tammy, and she loves a good squeaker toy. She actually loves lots of toys, and she has been on the show before. But she hasn't really gotten much interest, so we decided that we would put her on the show again in hopes that maybe somebody who wanted to make her part of their family would see. Bailey is a beautiful dog. She's got that great chocolate color. She's 7 years old. She's a pit bull mix. She came to us previously owned. The situation was a family member had taken in her daughter's dog. Her daughter was homeless, but at a certain point, due to the health of the family, they could no longer maintain taking care of the dog. So they brought Bailey here to us so that we could find her another loving home. She has lived with other dogs, so she has lived with both larger dogs and smaller dogs, so she can get along with other dogs. However, we've seen that if a dog's put off kind of a more aggressive body language to her, then she's going to give it back just as much. And if they are very calm, then she'll calmly pass them as well. So we recommend that everyone who comes in to adopt a dog, if they have an existing dog, do a meet and greet with our dog and theirs just to see how things might play out. It's not a 100% indication of how it will be, but it'll give you an idea if it's something that you can work with or something that's definitely not going to be beneficial for either animal. Other things that we've picked out when we behavior assessed Bailey, again, she's very friendly. She keeps her kennel clean. She can bounce back and forth on her leash, so she needs a little bit of help with polite leash walking. She is a little bit mouthy, so when we did her food test, she would just kind of inadvertently kind of go for the plastic hand there because she was just so interested in the food. And she will trade objects. She loves her toys. She reluctantly gives them up, but her thing is if you're playing with it, then her mouth placement can kind of grab your hand. So that's something that we took into consideration when we decided the age group of kids that she could go to. So we're saying 13 and up, just because she can be a little possessive with her food and the mouthiness, the hand placement with the toys. We don't want any small children to stick their hand in there and accidentally get bitten, things like that. But she still is a relatively high energy dog, even though she's a senior dog, and she has a lot of love to give. So if you're interested in soaking up all the love that she does have to give, you can visit her here at Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center. Last week we introduced you to German Shepherds Brutus and Sultan, and this is the third Shepherd that came in with them. This is Shadow, and he is 5 years old. He came again from the same family, and they were brought in because they were, the family said they were financially unstable and just unable to care for a large amount of dogs. So they brought the dogs to us so that we could find them new homes. So he is used to living with other dogs. He's about 100 pounds, so if a big dog's not what you're looking for, then he's definitely not going to be the right fit for you. He is Lyme positive, so he is not currently on any medication here. We generally don't treat them with the antibiotic cycle unless they're showing symptoms, but that's something that you would need to take into consideration, making sure that you talk to your vet, you get him on his 30-day cycle of doxycycline, make sure you're keeping up with the flea and tick preventative, and also getting him his annual Lyme vaccine is going to be very important. As you're seeing right now, he loves to give kisses, nice slobbery kisses. You can have that back. And dogs like this are shedders, so you want to make sure that you're brushing them and you're okay with having a little bit of dog fur all over your house. Things that the previous owner said about him: again, playful, energetic, friendly, rides well in the car, used to vet checks, used to baths. He also is calm, he's house trained. Things that we've discovered about him During his behavior assessment, again, he keeps his kennel pretty clean. He's very friendly and excited when people approach his kennel. No reaction to other dogs, which is fantastic. He's easy to obtain, he's easy to walk, no issues with food aggression. We were unable to test him for object guarding because he wasn't interested in the toys, and that seems to be the case right now. He's definitely not all that interested. And then that's basically it. He's just an overall really a great dog. He's color-coded as green because he does still have that energy level to him. And he's a bigger dog, so just want to make sure that you're prepared to take on all that you're getting when you're getting a dog this big. And then being aware that just because he's a beautiful dog and you like him, a lot of rental facilities, so if you rent an apartment or rent a home, do have breed restrictions that apply for a lot of the dogs that we actually get here at the shelter. So all of our pit bull mixes, as well as kind of German Shepherds, Huskies, Dobermans, Rottweilers sometimes even, you have to make sure that your landlord is going to allow you to have a pet of that breed before coming in and applying. If you are interested in making Shadow part of your family, stop in and visit with him here at 1832 Rosemont Avenue. We are open to the public Monday through Saturday. Clifford is another one of our returning guests. He's a 1 to 2 year old pit bull mix. He came to us as a stray, and as I mentioned on the show last time, all we really knew about him is that he had a big red collar. It was really thick, so some of the staff started calling him Big Red. Because when they first come in, they don't have names until we process them and things, and then we start to name the animals. And since he's not really a big red dog, we decided that ultimately we would call him Clifford instead. So it kind of went with what we had been calling him all along, and I kind of think the name suits him a little bit. Clifford is a dog that we do have restrictions on, in that we only want him to be adopted to a home where the children are at least 10 years old or older. That's for a couple of reasons. First and foremost being that Clifford does not understand that he is a big, strong guy. So he can pull on the leash a little bit. He can do things like maybe jump up or run up excitedly to see someone, and then, if it's a smaller child, maybe knock them over, hurt them. We don't want those types of things to happen. And then also, Clifford is in love with his food. Some people get really excited about a meal, so does Clifford. So we want to make sure that kids aren't going to be trying to stick their hands in there and maybe get a little nibble on their fingers while Clifford is eating. Other things that we've found out about him since he's been in our care: he's super smart, he's super affectionate. He needs a little bit of work on house training because right now he's not keeping his kennel super clean. He's friendly, reacts favorably to other dogs, which is always good. However, sometimes when he's walking through the kennel, I think he likes to set them off a bit. He likes to bark at the other dogs. So again, we suggest and definitely encourage people to bring their dogs in to meet with our dogs before making those decisions to adopt. He willingly lets go of objects. He really likes to be petted. He, again, is a very sweet dog. One of the other things that our techs noticed is that sometimes loud noises and fast movements can startle him, which is another reason why we want him to go to a home with older kids. Young kids do a lot of yelling and running around, and we don't want Clifford to feel anxious all the time and fearful, and we don't necessarily want him to be in a situation where he might react out of fear. If you're interested in Clifford, then you can stop in and visit with him here at the shelter. Our visitation hours are Monday, Tuesday, and Friday from 10 to 5, Wednesday and Thursday from 12 to 8, and Saturdays from 10 to 4. The last dog that we have for you today is one that is quickly becoming a staff and volunteer favorite. Pretty much from the moment he walked in the door, we were all in love. This is Blue, and he is a 3-year-old boxer mix, and he is special in that he is both deaf and partially blind. He has no peripheral vision. But he does not let that stop him from being the happiest dog on the floor and running around and playing and having a good time. He is just a bundle of sweetness, and He's just a big goober, and we all love him. He loves to give kisses. He's always got a big smile on his face. His tail's always going. He's so happy, and it's kind of, we should all be as happy with what we have as Blue is. He's just a good example of being happy with what you have, I guess. And he is looking for a new forever home. He came to us because there was a family medical situation. They could no longer care for him and his medical needs. You know, he needs to maybe go to the vet a little bit more frequently. You need to keep an eye on him. He is a dog that will be relatively easy to own, but you do have to make certain exceptions and understand that he needs certain additional things. For example, he can't hear you, so he's not going to have good recall. He's not going to be able to know when a car is coming, perhaps. And also, he has no peripheral vision, so he can't see like traffic and other things coming out of the corner of his eye. So it's really important that he be on a leash at all times, or in a fenced yard. But I would always encourage people to keep Blue supervised. You know, when he's walking, he kind of crisscrosses a little bit, and he's always turning his head so that he can see, because he can't see the peripheral, so he's turning his head a lot. So he kind of crisscrosses in front of people while he's walking. You know, it might take him a couple times to jump into your car to understand the distances and feel comfortable doing so. Just because he cannot hear you does not mean that he's untrainable. A lot of people with deaf dogs, and even deaf people with hearing dogs, teach their dogs sign language, whether you're using traditional American Sign Language or you're creating your own cues for him. As long as you're consistent with it, they can pick up on those things very easily. And you know, you just have to make sure that you get his attention. You know, you put your hand in front of his face so that he can see you and follow your hand. If you just try to get his attention over here, he's not going to be good at seeing it. So you need to make sure that he is focused on you when you're giving him his cues. Things that can be unsettling for him: shadows, because he doesn't really know what those are. His previous owner said they let him sleep in a covered crate so there are no shadows and things like that. But he's very friendly, used to nail trims, vet checks. He's house trained and crate trained. And one of the cute little things that they wrote is that sometimes he gets cold because he's from Florida. So not only did his previous owner bring all of the medical records that she had, she also provided us with his harness and his little t-shirt so that he could stay warm here as it starts to get cooler up in the mid-Atlantic region. So if you have what it takes to provide Blue with his moderately special care that he'll require, you can stop in and visit with him here at Animal Control. We are open Monday through Saturday. That's going to wrap up our canine portion of the show. A lot of the dogs on the floor right now are actually scheduled for adoption or full-on application, so we don't have as many to showcase for you today. But what we do have a lot of is cats. So after the break, we're going to introduce you to 6 of those.
Child abuse is not an isolated problem. It affects each of us, and it is only through each of us that child abuse can be prevented. Get involved. Call the Child Advocacy Center to find out how to help. 301-600-1758.
As I've mentioned several times in recent weeks, a lot of cats on our adoption floor. And what I figured out today while I was putting together the show is that we have a lot of black cats, or black and white cats. And I'm going to be showcasing quite a few of those for you today. Just a reminder that all of our cats over the age of 8 months are going to be adopted for a fee of just $15.50 from now until October 31st. In an attempt to help us get as many of our large population of cats into loving forever homes. If you were to adopt a kitten under the age of 8 months, so 7 months and under, then they would go home for our normal $97.50 adoption fee. The first cat guest that we have for you today is cuddling up pretty tight to Tammy because he is one of our shy yellow-carded cats. This is Gellert, and he came to us as a stray. And I probably should know the pop culture reference that is his name, but I don't. So if you know, please feel free to hit us up on Facebook and let me know where that came from. He is 4 years old and came to us again as a stray, and he is definitely starting to come out of his shell the longer that he's been with us. He arrived in late August, and now he's starting to, at least in his cage where he feels safe and comfortable, come up to the front more. He's not hiding in his bed, behind his bed. He's definitely asking for more attention. But now we've taken him out of his comfort zone and put him somewhere new, and he's got his eyes are wide open. He's taking everything in. He's kind of keeping really still. His ears are moving around. He's listening to all the different noises. And so he's showing kind of his shy self. This is how he's going to be when you take him to your home at first, because he's going to be scared. A lot of people are super excited. And they're like, oh, I'm taking my new pet home. Yes, you are going home. But for most of these animals, they've been living here for quite a while, and this is their home. We are their family. And when you take them home, as exciting as it is, you are taking them to a new, strange place with strangers. So they're going to be less comfortable. They're going to be, reverting to their shyer selves. But when I approached his cage today, he was very excited. He got up when he saw me unlocking it. He wanted to be petted. He was okay with me picking him up and holding him for a second. He went really nicely into the cat carrier. So once he warms up, he is a wonderful, wonderful pet. He just needs somebody who's going to be patient and understand that it's going to take him a little bit longer to get to that point than some of the other more outgoing cats on our adoption floor. Because Gellert is 4 years old, he would be adoptable for that $15.50 fee if you were to adopt him during the month of the end of September, beginning through the end of October. Our next guest is, I think, the oldest cat on the adoption floor right now at 13 years old. This is Miko, and he is quite a handsome guy, but he's a large guy. He is 17 pounds plus. So a diet would definitely benefit him. You know, when you get into the older cats that are incredibly overweight, you start dealing with things like mobility issues, inability to clean themselves, so then they get matted. Also, sometimes they can't clean their rear ends, which means somebody's got to do baby wipe patrol. Things like diabetes could be a concern. So you definitely want to make sure that if you were to make Miko part of your family, you're getting him on a diet plan that you've discussed with your vet so that he can live a long, happy, healthy life. He was previously owned, and he was brought to us because apparently he was urinating on the children's toys. So that could mean a lot of things. It could mean that he just prefers to be in a quieter home. It could mean that the parents might not have seen the kids do something to him that he was uncomfortable with. There's so many different reasons that could be environmental. All that we know is that when animals are brought to us for litter box issues, we track their litter box usage here. And if they're not using their litter box, then they will we'll find other arrangements for them, usually barn homes or indoor-outdoor homes. Miko seems to be using his litter box fine here, so he's on our adoption floor looking for a forever home. He is very interested in attention, very talkative. While I've been, getting other cats and moving them around and walking past the cat floor, he definitely lets his presence be known with little kind of old man meows. And he likes the attention. But he does seem to kind of have his own thoughts about what he wants to do. When I opened his cage, he jumped right out. Not necessarily because he wanted to sit on my lap, but because he wanted to get out and go exploring. And I think that's part of what he's he's doing right now. He doesn't want to be told what he can and can't do, and he's stuck in that chair right now, and he wants to get down and explore. And another thing that you have to take into consideration when a cat is overweight like he is that picking him up and making him sit on your lap and stuff can be uncomfortable for him just because there's so much of him. So taking that into consideration. If you are interested in one of our sweet older cats are the best because you know what you're getting with them, then you can stop in and visit with Miko here at Animal Control. Miko may be the oldest cat on the adoption floor, but this guy is a close second. This is Mountain Dew. That's right, you heard me correctly. He is named after a caffeinated beverage. He is 12 years old, and he is a cat that was previously adopted from us about 6 or 7 years ago, and he was recently returned because his owner said that she had developed an allergy and asthma, and she just couldn't maintain the cat any longer. He has previously lived with dogs, children. They say that he's calm, which he is most of the time in his kennel, but he's also independent, which we are definitely seeing right now. He wants to go do what he wants to do because he's 12 years old, and why shouldn't he? But in his kennel, most of the time, he just kind of hangs out, sleeps in his bed. He is more active than most people think of a senior cat, though. When somebody pops by his kennel, or his cage, he comes right up. He was trying to interact with the other cats, lifting his paws out and kind of reaching for them, reaching out for people. He was, we first put him on Tammy's lap. He was eager to play with the toys. They also said that he is a lap cat, and I could see that. But he wants to do it when he wants to do it, and when we plopped him on a strange place, on a person he's not super familiar with, he wasn't really eager to be a lap cat at that point. But he seems to be settling in a little bit more now that he's feeling a little bit more comfortable. Not necessarily trying to get down. Seems a little bit more relaxed in his body language, and maybe Tammy found his sweet spot there around his ear. So he's shown kind of all of the areas of different aspects of his personality here in just a few minutes. I personally love black cats, and I love older cats. I love them for several reasons. I grew up with black cats, and because they are the same color, you have to pay a little bit more attention to see what makes them different and unique. The shape of their ears, the shape of their face, their eyes, those types of things that really, when you're paying attention, they're vastly different from one black cat to the next. And also, you pay more attention to their personalities. And not only do senior cats have great personalities, you know what you're getting when you take home a senior. They have already figured out who they want to be in life. So it's not like you're taking home a 3-month-old kitten who's going to be cuddly today and running all over your house like a mad person later in the week. One of the great benefits of adopting an older cat right now at Animal Control is that their adoption fee is just $15.50, and Mountain Dew definitely qualifies for that. Don't be turned off by the fact that we have so many older cats on the adoption floor right now. Older cats still have a long life ahead of them, and as Mountain Dew has shown, can still be very playful. Cats can live anywhere from 10 to 20 years based on their overall health and well-being. So if you're doing what you need to do and making sure that you're providing the best possible veterinary care, they could still be with you for quite a long time. Our next guest is Precious 2, and she is another return to shelter. She was adopted from us as a kitten, and she's lived 3 years with her family, and then there was a divorce in the home, and Precious was then brought back to us. One of the things that we want to make people aware of is that Precious does have a left hind foot deformity. She has always had that here. It does not affect her in her ability to walk around, to play, to cuddle. She is used to living with that, and that's the only life that she's known. It's not like she's a tripod. She's not missing a leg or a foot per se. It's just that her foot is not a typical cat paw, if you will. So it should not be something that stops you from wanting to make her part of your family. She came right in and settled really nicely on Tammy's lap, is perfectly content there. She is, according to what we've seen in her previous owner, a lap cat. She's able to handle, she's friendly, she's playful. She has lived with other cats in her foster home while she was a kitten, her litter mates, and then as well with her previous family. So she could be easily a cat that could adapt to being in a multi-cat household. She's relatively quiet here in the shelter. She likes to hang out in her cat bed and in her little hammock, and when I went to go get her out, she heard me unlock the cage, and just like many of the other ones, when they know that somebody's there to visit them, they hop right down. They're eager to get the attention. They just don't constantly ask for it like some of the younger cats that are reaching out and grabbing at your clothes and pulling you into them. She is just lovely. Like, there's no other way to describe her. She's got that great dark gray coat, and it is so soft, and she's so kind of easygoing. But I've heard from the kennel techs that she can have a little bit of a sassy side when she needs to. So she definitely knows her own mind, and she's still a very young cat at 3 years old. So she has a long life ahead of her, but she is, again, one of those more established cats. You know what you're getting. You know what size she's going to ultimately be. You know what her personality is going to be. And it's not something that it's going to be a constant guessing game. If you were to add Precious to your family during our Fall in Love promotion, she would again go home for that $15.50 adoption fee, and that's from now until October 31st. Our final guest on today's show is Paisley, and she has the cutest face. It's just the way that the white is the white pattern on her face, and her little pink nose just draws you right in. And I saw her for the first time yesterday on the adoption floor, and I was like drawn instantly to her cage. I was like, she is super cute. So I'm hoping that someone else has that same reaction and wants to take her home here in the near future. Paisley is a 3-year-old domestic short hair, and she came to us through absolutely no fault of her own. Her owner was evicted, and if you don't have a place to live, then oftentimes you don't have a place to house your animals. So Paisley ended up here so that we could find her another loving home. She has been living with the same person since she was about a year old. They've had her for 2 years. They say that she is used to living with babies, toddlers, children. She is a little bit shy, which I have not seen too much of. She's playful, energetic, says that she's able to handle, she's a lap cat, and that she's afraid of noises and can be nervous. A lot of cats are afraid of loud noises. Usually things like thunder or the vacuum, those types of things. That doesn't necessarily mean that she's going to be afraid of kids playing or kid toys. Maybe a slamming door would frighten her, but that could frighten anybody. She has no issues with litter box or anything like that. She's a very sweet cat. She's relatively new to the adoption floor, so we're still getting to know her. Our volunteers haven't had a lot of interaction with her. So if you're a follower of our Facebook page, just keep an eye out on that, and the volunteers go underneath their profile pictures and give comments about what the behaviors and the personalities that they've seen on the animals. Or you can always, if you have maybe a passing interest and you think that she might be a good one, you have to stop in anyway. So just come in and visit with her. Some people come in multiple times to visit with the animals just to make sure that it's a right fit, and that's something that you can always do. However, don't wait too long to put in those applications, because somebody else could put in an application ahead of you. It is an application process here to adopt any of the animals at Animal Control. We want to thank you for watching, and we hope that you will tune in again next week where we introduce you to several more adoptables here at FCAC.